afternoon, everybody. The sun is shining out there, but we're inside. So if we're inside, I think we've got to have some fun, haven't we? Let's have a bit of fun. I need some volunteers, and it's always good to pick your volunteers. So can I have Pedro, and Ian, and Andrew, and Gary? Out the front. Come on, out the front. Stand. Let's come and stand here. Stand in a line. Let's put that there. Stand in a line. Just the front. Okay. Sun is shining. We're going to be birds. Okay. So what do birds do? They fly, don't they? Okay. Let's fly around then. Come on. Let's fly around. Come on, let's fly around. Hang on. This bonding. This isn't working, is it? This just isn't working. Right, I'll tell you what we'll do, right? If you just all get together and you follow me and do what I do, okay? Yeah. So we formed a bit of a partnership now, and in doing that, we've removed a barrier. So, we're all birds again. Are we ready? Let's go. No, we're still going, watch out, we're still going. Are we all here? Are we all here? Are we all here? Okay, are we still flying? Are we still flying information? Yes. Great, thank you very much, gents. You can sit down. That's what we've just done. That's what we were. That's what Carmarthenshire County Council were in the way they went about their construction procurement. We were all over the place. There were people doing all sorts there. Everybody was buying this, everybody was buying that. We were using the same people. We were using different documentation for everything, of course. We were often fighting over the same suppliers. Bit of a mess, really. That's what we made it. That's what we've got to. I'm not sure that's 100%. There may still be a bird here sort of flying off every now and again. But it looks more or less like that. And it's starting to look as if we've got the beginning of a little nursery developing. Starting to look like. Collaboration starts at home. You can't collaborate outside if you aren't collaborating with yourself. And when you look like that, you are not collaborating with yourself. So the first job is to get that sorted out, always. It's taken us probably 15 years to get from the birds flying everywhere to the birds flying in the same formation. And it's been a hard road. And we ask ourselves, well, why, what was it worth it? Why were we doing this? Why put ourselves through this grief? This is where we were back in about 2005, 2006. We had quality homes. We kept our council housing stock, so we had 9,500 council houses, all of which needed fairly major refurbishment. Kitchens, bathrooms, UPVC windows, the whole works. That's the kind of sums we're talking about. At the same time, we had a modernising education programme worth about 170 million between 2008 and 2012. Quite a bit of money to spend there. We looked at it. How were we going to deliver those two themes when we were working in the way we were working? And we decided we probably weren't going to achieve it. And that's where the sort of change came about, really. This is sort of a description of how we started out and where we got to where we are, really, I suppose. It all started way, way back when we actually, our hydrology department, bid for a Welsh water contract. And this is back in about 2006, if I remember correctly. We worked with Welsh Water in a completely different way to the way that we'd worked with anybody before. They were looking for a partner. We were used to the old adversarial construction relationships, which we all knew and loved. It was all good fun, We were macho men. We'd scrap it out in the end, and something would probably get built, but it would cost us an arm and a leg. This relationship was completely different, and we learned a lot from that. So we changed the way we looked. We put all the buyers who were out there in various places, we put them all together under property services, and we set up some frameworks to try and deliver the programme in front of us. And On the way there, we started hitting upon some of these ideas of community benefits and added community value, and I'll come back to that theme later on a bit. That worked for us. That worked for us definitely. And we got to the stage where we're now looking at a local delivery collaboration culture and possibly going on to a regional delivery collaboration culture where we've got lots of organisations involved with sharing resources. We're starting to hit where we want to be there, really. And from where I'm sitting on the on the procurement side, working very closely with property services, what I was tempted to do was to draw a sort of surfer on top of these waves, because we climbed that first one, and whoa, we had great fun when we came down the other side, and then, yeah, we came up that one, and whoa, we started having great fun coming down here. It got a little bit harder then, but yeah, we kind of climbed it. Now we got on to the regional delivery, and it's kind of, it's hard work getting up that one. It is hard work getting up that one. Back to where we were. Birds flying everywhere. Education, non-housing and housing. Everybody organising their own delivery, placing their own contracts. No, not a good way of doing it. 1996. Us and them culture. Definitely us and them culture. No partnering, last thing you wanted to do, last thing you become involved in. Between 2004 and 2008, things started to change. No, we're not comfortable with it yet, but we've got some sort of shared delivery now, and it's coming together. We've still got birds flying off the flock in different directions, but it's starting to come together. In terms of our own internal setup, we've got community links now with colleges. We've got our external clients with Welsh Water, who we learned all this stuff off from the first place. We've got our framework suppliers inside the loop now. We've got our direct labour organisation inside the loop. And we've got our internal clients, some of whom are well in, and some of whom are just sitting on the very edge, because they're not quite sure yet about whether this thing works or be involved. Dyfed-Powys Police are in. Our colleges and training is still there. The framework are still operating. The DLO is still there. We are slowly pulling our internal clients in. We are beginning to fly in formation. Now then, that doesn't mean to say that there aren't still barriers there, because there are real barriers there. Even though we are partnering in terms of working with our regional partners, it's still a mixed bag. We're operating under a United Nations flag, but a bit like the United Nations, we've got all sorts of things going on underneath there. And what we've been talking about, a lot of effort has gone into sort of managing the climate, really, where we try and get this bit of it to work and to try and remove some of those barriers. This is a slide about the experience. Yep, somebody, this is never going to work, come on, But it is working with Welsh Water. But we need to change. We need to change the way we're thinking. Okay, sounds good. It's working with Welsh Water, might work. Be good, We brief the chief exec, we brief the exec board. Chief exec looks at it, hey, well done, that's a cracking idea. Yep, like this, get on with it. And everybody's, whoa, yeah, okay, Brass bands and fireworks, good stuff. But, oh God, it takes a long time. It takes a long time. It takes a long time and it's hard work and we're not getting anywhere, there's no results visible and, is it worth it? Oh, God. And you end up here in what we call the dark night. And it's a horrible place to be because you think I've spent all this time and I've spent all this money and all this effort and I've lost all this hair. And I'm in here. And I can't see a way out, and I think I've done the wrong thing. I think this organisation has done the wrong thing. We're not making any progress. That's the point where you find out what you're made of, really. That's the point where you have to dig in and stick at it. Because if you do, you will start to come off. The thing will start to work. You'll start to see the benefits. And really, at the beginning, a small gain is in effect a big gain, because it gives you the incentive to drive on, really. Come to a point where you think, okay, well, maybe it's not such a bad idea. And eventually, and as I say, from there to here, in our case, was probably 12, 15 years. It works. There's something in this, definitely. What's in it? That's the thing to capture. What is in it? Why is it worth all that pain? You know, looking at it from a contractor perspective, I've got all these things that I didn't have before. You know, my regional medium-sized contractors now are certainly punching above their weight. You know, we have got real links with our design partners, overcoming the scepticism and capabilities and all the rest of it. You can put that group of people into a room. You can have a discussion about shared risk. You can have a discussion about driving out cost. And you really can't tell who's working for who. You can't tell who's the client. You can't tell who's the contractor. You can't tell who's doing the groundworks. Everybody is driving towards the same aim. As that develops, other things start to happen around it. You know, you've got the shared approach for training and community collaboration. Things come your way. You come across things that are happening out there which will work very well with the sort of ethos that you're pursuing. And you generally end up with what I would call an enhanced portfolio. You know, you've just got a better set of tools to work with all of a sudden. Still from the contractor perspective, you know, like that top one. I mean, 0 reportable accidents. That's progress. You know, that's not where we were before. Shared training initiatives, kind of things that are almost there, and you just need that. You just need the synchronicity of those things coming together to make it all happen. Things like CCTAL, which was an organisation of contractors and colleges who wanted to work together to put forward a sort of training package, really, for people. We talked about the economic benefits earlier on and trying to search out those economic benefits. I think it's safe to say that the way the frameworks have worked has certainly safeguarded local companies' unemployment in our area in a difficult time. The shared approach that has been adopted, which I'll come on to a little bit later on, but that shared approach is bringing big gains. And we've also grown companies. They've grown from fairly small but ambitious small companies. They're now successful medium-sized contractors, and many of them have diversified, and they've looked at their sort of business proposition and their forward planning, and they've adapted to the changing circumstances. And it's, in some ways, it's bought time for them, you know. Now, when we set these frameworks up 4 years ago, we were in a different economic climate. Things were starting to change, but the people who were interested in bidding were very much the regional contractors, or regional small, medium-sized contractors. I think it's safe to say that this time, next time we go out, we're going to have a lot more interest from some of the big boys in this stuff. And our trick working with the lawyers will be to try and protect competition right the way through that supply chain, from the big boys at the top looking for the big stuff, right down to the small local people that we want to try and grow companies. That's going to be the difficult bit for us, really. These are things that have come to us that we have grabbed as they've come along. And when we're talking about community benefits, this wasn't this. I wouldn't want to pretend that this is any great master plan on our part. That, you know, we saw all this happening from the very start of this operation, and this is what we tried to create, and we've managed to do it. A lot of this stuff has landed in our lap, but the doors were open, and the secret is to be in a position to walk through the doors. And when you look at some of that stuff, you know, the figures there: 62 traditional apprenticeships, 78 shared apprenticeships, 27 successfully completed. 100% NVQ level 3 against the national average of 38%. There's something happening, isn't there? There's something working there, definitely. You know? You're ending up with skills retention, employable craftsmen, future business, and some recognition as well, which is always nice. And really, the greenhouse there is to remind me that, you know, the whole thing about this was to plant the seed in the first place, and then work at growing. This takes time. You've got to be patient. And some of the things you do will fail. They will just wither and die. The plants will wither and die and you won't get anywhere. But if you stick at it, you will enjoy some success. What does that success look like in terms of Carmarthenshire's experience? A couple of the programmes that we've been involved in. Building Your Future, 112 people in community first groups. These are the people in the most deprived areas of Carmarthenshire. These are hard people to get at. You are not going to get at these people by putting on a college course. You have to do something different. You have to get out there into their communities. You have to do something tangible. You have to do something real that their community can see as a benefit. We did it as fun, hands-on taster sessions, learn a bit of carpentry, learn a bit of tiling. Worst comes to the worst, you can always try a bit at home. It's not going to cost you anything. Just come along, we'll have a laugh, we'll try it, we'll see how it goes. The great thing is that when you engage some of these people and you do this community-based stuff and you say, well, okay, we'll to learn this next bit, we need a half day in the college or a day in the college. Come along and, we'll do this bit in the college. And they see the college with a different set of eyes. They see it in a different way. It's not this remote, threatening, horrible place that they remember when they were sort of 14 sitting at the back of the class in school. It's now something that can bring something to them. And I love that figure. 94% either considering education or training courses because their self-confidence has grown to such a massive extent that they now see themselves as being able to contribute something positive, whereas before it wasn't really there. The next steps, I love the next steps ones as well. That's our version of The Apprentice, the next steps is. Next steps is great. I mean, I don't know, I'm a fan of The Apprentice. I was watching it last night and we were talking there about entry requirements. You've got to be 16 plus. We take 6 people, we split them into 2 teams. We run it for 8 weeks and each team works with a mentor. And we run a fun-based competition. You get a task to do and you're marked on that task. And there are rewards and forfeits. Now, I live in Carmarthen, near Llanelli, Scarlet country, big rugby country. Do something at the rugby stadium down in Parc y Scarlet, Llanelli. And your reward is a VIP tour of the stadium with Gareth Jenkins or one of our Rupert Moon or one of our local stars. And you get some tickets for a game and that's your reward for the good work that you've done. But of course there's a forfeit. If you come second, there's a forfeit. So the forfeit is you have to wipe every seat in the stadium. Yeah? And it's kind of, it works. These people get very enthused about it. And what they learn really is this thing about life skills through team working. Because very often it'll be the first time that they've done that. And in this particular case, the reward, we had some real tangible benefits, some real tangible rewards here because we had a company that said, we'll run the competition and whoever wins the competition, L&G, Lloyd and Gravel, I will take them on as an apprentice full time. So there was a job at the end of this, We ran the competition. It was great fun. It was really good fun. And I think everybody was involved and enjoyed it. And the nice thing to see from our perspective was that not only did Lloyd and Gravel take an apprentice, but TRJ as well was so impressed with the quality of people who took part in that they took an apprentice as well. So we had 2 people put into full-time jobs as a result of that. And it just built some sort of enthusiasm for the thing. Let's try something different, get something moving. As part of what we did, we've always been worried about the how do you quantify those community benefits? Those if you're going to use social clauses in contracts, well, what does that actually mean? Can you put some figures to that? And the stuff beforehand is a good story, but what does it actually bring in terms of hard facts and hard figures? At the time we were doing this, Welsh Government was developing the Community Benefits Tool, which is a tool that is intended to take those community benefits and turn them into facts and figures. So we run this project through this machine, and this is the sort of sausage that's come out at the end of it, really. And I think the figures, you know, you start to look at the figures, contract value 53 million, which was the direct spend, the direct investment. Total direct investment in Welsh and UK economy, 105 million. That's a result, that is. That is a result. You know, you want more of that stuff, you know. Revenue to Welsh business, 33 million. Stuff like landfill, 1.1 million. For the first time, really, this benefits tool allows us to capture all those things that we've always struggled with in the past. I mean, I work for the Director of Resources, who's an accountant, and he says, show me where the results are. Show me in hard facts and figures where this is doing any good. This is the tool to do that, really. It's the sort of thing we're involved with very many European projects in Carmarthenshire, and we're always looking to measure the outcome of those European projects. And I think what we're intending to do is to use this tool as the measurement for each one of those, because it just seems to work. It seems to hit the spot. So this tries to sort of capture the journey that we've been on, really, you know, from those early ideas of, well, look, there's something here that we haven't seen before that we think might work. It's the seed of an idea. So what do we have to get happening for this to work, you know? Who do we need on board? How is it going to work? What other things do we need to be thinking about? You've got to have the right climate. You know, this whole thing has to be about trust and clear communication. Constantly learning and reviewing, constantly listening to people. You know, that's what it's all about. Building that into the way that you move forward. Those are the logos of some of the people who've been involved in the projects with us. It's now wider than that. What we've really seen is a change in the ethos, a change in the way that people want to work with us. And the great thing coming from the regional collaboration is people are actually saying, you know, is this regional collaboration going to work in the same way as the Carmarthenshire one has worked over the past 4 years? Because they like it, they bought into it, they trust us. We haven't stopped yet. We haven't stopped yet. The real benefit, the real test of whether this is working, I think is probably best found in the faces of the individuals who have been on some of these courses. Because when you hear those people speak, my God, you know, it's better than a good malt whiskey in terms of putting a warm feeling in your stomach. They love it. They really believe in it. You know, it is something that is going to be lasting. It is sustainable. It is a legacy for future generations. And I really would ask you to have a look at those couple of clips where the people who've been directly involved in the thing speak. And I think what they have to say is probably the most powerful reason you'll ever hear, really, for pursuing this sort of procurement. Thanks very much.